All right, story time. Just yesterday, I got back a couple Peavey 6505 pluses. They were long overdue for some, tender loving care. Those are my main road amps for the past, 15 or plus years or something. I have many of them, but those are just my main ones. I don't think there's any difference between them or any of the other ones I have. They're just the ones that lived in my live rig all this time, but they've never been serviced in any way. And I started noticing some things recently, like drops in volume, which is a common thing, especially while using the effects loop, I think. So comment if you've had that issue too. Anyways, been doing a couple of these videos on Sloan Amps, and the owner of Sloan Amps, Steve, is a repair guy, does great stuff, and he offered to check them out for me. And it turns out, there was really nothing wrong, but he cleaned up everything, cleaned out a bunch of the pots or caps or whatever he said, changed some preamp tubes, and just, got everything back, make sure it was running at, its optimum, whatever. So, and that's what he's done. And it made me think about mine and Chimaira's Peavey endorsement. And I thought that maybe for those interested, you guys would like to hear about how our endorsement came about. And for anybody that doesn't know, real quick, an endorsement from a music company generally works like this. It may be even different now. I haven't been doing this stuff as recently, but back in the glory days, basically companies would just give bands free gear in exchange for you playing out every night, talking about the gear, showing it off in pictures, talking about it in interviews, things like that. It works. How many guys play ESP guitars because they saw me playing an ESP guitar on stage? It's still crazy. I got to pinch myself to say that because I was a kid who had posters of Metallica playing ESP guitars. I had no idea what ESP guitars were. I just knew I wanted to play them because Metallica is my favorite band. And seeing Kirk with that one like Strat ESP in the one video, I was like, man, I want to have that. Since had one made kind of in that style. I don't think it's here right now. But so yeah, that's how it works. Either free gear in exchange for the publicity that the companies get, or heavily discounted. It's like I said, in the glory days, back in the day, brands were giving bands like us everything. But again, it worked because people were out there buying 5150s. People were out there using Dean Markley strings, our picks, and that's just how it works. So anyways, that's endorsements in a nutshell. And how our Peavey endorsement came about is kind of a little wild story. And I've told these stories probably a couple times in the past in various episodes of Everything You Love and things like that. And I was actually hesitant to make this video because of that. But then just this morning, I happened to be watching the Garza podcast with our homie Josh Middleton, and they said this.
Dana White.
Oh, yeah?
Where I watch all his interviews, and he'll tell the same stories. I find myself like, why am I I always watch him.
Yeah.
And I realized you can never tell your story enough because someone new is always watching.
Yeah.
Because to you will feel like you told something already, but there's thousands of fucking people that are going to watch a certain thing or listen to something that have never heard that story.
Yeah, for sure.
And the people that are rewatching it are obviously fans and don't mind anyway.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So.
No, I get that, for sure.
So it gives me reassurance that I can go ahead and tell these stories because there's probably a ton of you who haven't heard them. And if you're still here with me and you'd like to hear the story, let's begin. It was a warm summer day. I already said summer, sorry. It was a warm day in the summer of 2003, and it was Chimaira's very first show on the Ozzfest. And the Ozzfest was a touring festival thing, probably like 20 bands and being in a new city every day. Big shows. There were two stages, the main stage, and just picture whatever your outdoor shed is. And here in Cleveland, it's Blossom, so there could be, 20,000 people out there. And then there'd be a side stage for bands more of our size. And still there'd be, 6,000 to 10,000 people in front of you every day. It was a badass tour. We had so much fun, played with so many great bands, all that. But our very first show, we're opening with the song Power Trip. And Mark goes, or maybe it was like the second song or whatever, but it was Power Trip. And Mark introduces it. This is Power Trip. Handles clicks in. I start the song with that. But I go to start it, I got nothing. And at the time, I'm using one of Mark's old original block litter 5150s. We hadn't yet ever talked to Peavey in our life, didn't have any endorsement. He just happened to grow up with this 5150, and I was using it live, and I brought it on this tour. Anyways, I go to strike the first note, dead, absolutely nothing. So my tech is back there scrambling, and I'm sitting there on stage, you know, next to him, like trying to figure out what's wrong too, as the rest of the band's playing, crowd's going crazy, awesome crowd and all that. And this is my first Ozzfest experience. So he determines that the head had blown a fuse, but he didn't just have a bunch of fuses ready to go, especially in this situation. It was a throw and go for him too. The set changes were like 5 minutes, you know, in between bands. Of course, we had all day to set up, but it was still day one. He's getting used to everything, meeting people, meeting the stage hands, you know, the event crew, all that kind of stuff, figuring out a lot of stuff. And so anyways, he figures out it's a fuse, and he has to run to our trailer, which is probably, I don't know, a few football fields away, and to get a spare fuse. Comes back, he's back in time for me to start the next song, gets the fuse switched, but I still got nothing. And it was determined, so at that point then, he asks some other band, hey, can I borrow a head just for the show? We're gonna figure this out. So we get that swapped over. I probably come in midway through the next song. So I was down probably like a song and a half the whole time. But what the problem was that the 5150 we determined something was wrong where it was just blowing fuses. Every time you put in a new fuse, it would just blow it. So the head definitely had a problem. So fast forward a couple shows, and now we're in Atlanta, and that's where Peavey is located, somewhere in Georgia. And somehow the guys were just at the show that day, and we were talking to them, or maybe like our management got in touch with them or something and said, hey, the Chimaira guys are gonna be here this day. Could you come out and meet them, possibly do something together? They have this head that's broken, stuff like that. So we're sitting on the bus after the show, and the Peavey guys, we tell them what happened, and they're like, yeah, no problem. We could take this 5150 for you, and we'll get it fixed, and we'll ship it out to you. You know, maybe a few shows from now. So I'm like, great, that's awesome. Anyways, don't hear anything for the next few shows. Don't hear anything over the course of the rest of the tour. So now maybe like a month has passed, and I call one of the guys from Peavey, and I was like, hey, you know, it's Rob Arnold from Chimaira. You guys had that 5150. He's like, let me check on that. I got to locate it and see what the deal is, and I'll get right back to you. Another month passes. Tour's long over, back home. Another month passes, I hadn't heard anything. I'm like, what is going on here? So I call him up again, and the guy's like, I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't know whether way to say it just to give it to you straight, but we lost the head. Nobody can find it. We have no idea where it is. So I'm like, huh. He's like, but no problem. We're gonna send you guys each a couple 5152s. Because the 5152 was the amp they were promoting at the time. 6505s hadn't come out yet. So anyways, that was cool. That was the start of our Peavey endorsement. So right then and there, 4 5152 heads arrived at our Chimaira headquarters, the rehearsal spot, you know, 2 for Matt, 2 for me, plus a full like 8x10 rig for Jim, our bass player. And then from there on out, the rest was history. Anytime we needed something, they were super cool. They hooked us up with anything we needed. Over the years, I accumulated a bunch of XXXs and JSXs, and then eventually 6505s. Jim had multiple 8x10 cabinets, and he was playing Peavey basses. He left the SP to play Peavey basses because of this. So check it out. Here's part 2 of the story. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. Fast forward a year or two, and we're in Tempe, Arizona on some tour. And Jim says, hey, I'm having 2 new 8x10s delivered today, and the new Peavey rep, a guy named David, is gonna be bringing them to the show. So we're like, that's cool, we'll meet David. Day goes on, I'm wandering around doing something. I see Jim out in the parking lot behind the trailer with a couple huge Peavey boxes talking to some guy. I figure, oh, that's the rep. I didn't meet him right then or whatever. I went up on the bus. I was in the middle of something. So a few more minutes passes. Now I'm just sitting on the bus, taking care of something. Jim comes up, and I figure I'm going to meet this new Peavey rep, guy named David. As David enters the bus. It's David, all right. David Ellefson from Megadeth. I'm like, what? What the heck are you doing here? He's like, I'm your Peavey rep. And I'm just blown away. And Jim's laughing because I figured if Jim would have known this, he would have told me before. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when he mentioned it in the past. I don't know. But I was blown away that Dave Ellefson was here on our bus and he was our Peavey rep. The influence on me as a guitar player from Megadeth is insurmountable. Metallica and Megadeth are my two favorite bands, like in terms of inspiration for guitar playing, songwriting, just absolutely everything. I'm obsessed with Megadeth. Really the first 5 albums only, up until Euthanasia. I love Euthanasia and everything prior to that. So yeah, I'm just blown away that Dave Ellefson's here. And I'm gushing, telling him how much I love Megadeth. He's super cool. And he was super cool to us over the years. I think it was either that day or the next day, or the next time we came through Phoenix and he came out, because he would come out anytime one of his bands would play. That was part of the gig. And, let's just say it was that time or the next time. Let's just call it the next time. The next time, I don't know, later that year or something, we were come back to Tempe, Arizona, and Dave's there. And Dave says to me, hey, Rob, I'm working with this company called the Rock House Method. And I've made a couple bass instructional DVDs for them. And I'd like to recommend you to do a guitar instructional DVD for this company called the Rock House Method. I was so blown away because I had never in my life ever thought of making a guitar DVD or being on camera in that sense, anything like that. Lo and behold, now all these years later, I'm doing YouTube, right? But at that time, it wasn't ever a thought in my mind. This is probably like 2006 or something like that. Never thought about it. But and even if I would have never made a DVD, had one made with the Rock House Method, just the fact that Dave Ellefson took note of my playing was just the hugest pat on the back. What a compliment for me. So just absolutely super cool. And now I know so many of you guys have this. If you want to get it, go to my website, robarnoldworld.com/store. And it's shipping with 10 free of my custom guitar picks, free worldwide shipping, autographed, all that. If you'd like one, I'd like for you to have one. So, but anyways, that was just an unbelievable thing. And like I said, Dave was cool throughout the years, anything we needed. So they were just a great company. Peavey would hook us up with gear every time we'd travel to Europe. We had our European backline over there and they'd provide us with the gear. Jim loved those Peavey basses for years. It was just a really great company for us to connect with, and we're very thankful. Peavey, if anybody from you guys are watching right now, thank you for all the years of just awesome gear. I still stand by the 6505 is the only head I'm interested in. It's the Chimaira sound, the whole 5150, 5152, 6505 range of amps is on every Chimaira record. Maybe not past out of existence, but everyone after that, I guarantee. And they just been part of the DNA of my sound, Chimaira's sound, and just really great amps. I still have my very first Rage 108. This is the first practice amp I got back in, I want to say, 89 or something, and it still works. I got a video on that amp where I compare it against like a Peavey half stack that you can check out if you'd like to. It's good to reminisce sometimes back on how those things happen. Chimaira's been so fortunate to have worked with so many great companies over the years. ESP, like I said, Dean Markley strings, In-Tune guitar picks, DR strings now, the Jackson guitars now. Matt's working with Dean guitars now. All the drum stuff that they've hooked us up with from Tama and Crush, Pearl, Evans, Ahead, Vic Firth, Vader, Shure, Sennheiser, ISP, what else? Digitech, case companies, everything. We've been very fortunate, but you got to get out there and you got to be playing all the time. And that's just kind of how how it worked for a long time. It's a little bit different now because of like YouTube. So people can get endorsements online because of the reach that a video can have. Think of a guy like Ola England, you know, like if he's gonna talk about a product, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are gonna see that video. So if you're a company of any type, you know, you gotta think about leveraging that power that people can see just across the world on the internet rather than having to be at that show. That still works, you know. People wanna play ESP guitars because they see James Hetfield, or maybe Gibson now because they're watching Dave Mustaine, so that works too. But the online presence of all this kind of stuff is another just kind of whole factor in everything that I'm hoping will play to my advantage in some way here. You know, it's worked out, and I hope it's going to continue to work out well for me. So thank you to all the wonderful companies that have sponsored and helped out my bands over the years, and I'm looking forward to working with ones that may come in the future as well. Appreciate everybody watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'm gonna do more of these just story time videos like this as I think of things that maybe I wanna talk about, that I think that maybe people would enjoy hearing. Let me know in the comments if you'd like more of these, because I got tons of stories, man. All sorts of stuff. From the crazy to the remarkable to the knowledge-filled to the funny, all sorts of stuff, you know? So, yep. Rob Arnold signing off. Hope to see you all again on the next one. Cheers.